Hello boys and girls and welcome. Today I will empower you with functions. At this point you are familiar with different data types, different data structures, with conditional statements like if else, and you know a little bit about loops because we covered while loops and for loops. But true empowerment comes from knowing that when it comes down to it, you don't have to repeat yourself in your code. Let me tell you more. There's going to be moments in your Python journey when you need to perform certain task, and the task may take up 6 or 7 lines of code. Yeah, and you need to perform that task in different places of your Python code. That's when Python functions come into play, because what Python functions allow us to do is to run reusable code, which means we don't have to repeat ourselves all the time. Okay, enough talking. Let's head over to code editor. Let's do it. Okay, so we are back in our editor, and I just want to show you a real example of a function that you may want to use in your code. I'm using VS Code, as you can see, but if you are already comfortable using PyCharm, just go ahead, because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you use PyCharm or VS Code or any other editor. What really matters is what you use it for. What amazing job, what amazing Python code you are writing. That's what it really comes down to. So if you are happy with PyCharm, just keep using PyCharm. If it's okay for you to use VS Code, just go with it. It's completely fine. Okay. So for our sake, for our example, I will define a variable called special. If I can spell, special characters, and I will just shorten it like this, special characters, and I will define it as a list because I will do some work with it later in our function. And special characters, for me, it's the @ symbol, it is the asterisk, and the special character can be the percentage sign, it can be the hash or pound sign, and one more, it can be perhaps the $sign. Why not? Yeah. And now we'll be creating our function. Function is created by using the keyword def. Def, like this. It's a short for the word definition. And then what we do is we name our function. And it can be pretty much anything you want. The only thing that's discouraged is to start the function name with a number. Yeah, but it won't. The Python won't complain. It's just it's not recommended. It's not recommended because it looks strange. It looks weird, and other Python coders like your classmates or perhaps your friends, they may find it a little bit strange. Yeah, so we can go just with something very simple like get user input. And as you can see, I use these just parentheses, parentheses, and I need to finish the definition with a colon like this. Hit enter, and at this point you are inside the function, and you need to tell Python what do you want the function to do. In our case, it will do like a few different things. Yeah, because in the real world, you won't have function that only prints out one line of code, or it prints out one line of string. Yeah, in real world, you have function that actually do some complicated things, for you. And for example, I can, for the sake of the example, I can just create the variable clean and give it true by default like this. Hit enter, and I will be asking a user for opinion here. So opinion, as you can see, that's under, if I can, opinion, and I will make it an input, which means I need to do this keyword input, parentheses, and then I need to type in either single quote or double quote. Yeah, I'm used to single quotes in strings, so I will just use those. And now I will ask the user, what do you think of, I don't know, Pokemon? Why not? And at this point, if I run the code, the Python will be asking in a terminal over here. It will be asking the user, what does he think of Pokemon. But I won't be running just yet because we don't need to check it just yet. But what we need to do though is to check if that string or whatever the user typed in, if it's actually clean, like if he didn't type in any rubbish or any garbage characters, or like basically we will be using the special characters for it, right? And also what we will be doing with his inputs, with his opinion, is to check if the user started typing with the first letter uppercase. And we will also check if the user finished the sentence with a full stop or period, if we will. If opinion, and remember, if we want the first character or first letter of that sentence, we need to tell Python how, which means it's the first character, index 0, remember, from our previous lesson. Computers and Python, they count from 0, not 1. So 0 for the first character, and we want to check if it's not titled. It's the same letter but titled. So title like that. And if it's not, we want to change it, right? So that means that opinion is the first letter. We want to capitalize it, so title, and plus the rest of the string, because as of now, if I just run this on its own like that, the opinion value will be replaced with just the one character, just the first character. That's not what we want. We want to capitalize the first letter, and we want to add the rest of the string, and we do it by, again, opinion in the square brackets 1, because we want to skip the first letter. And as you can see, I'm using colon here. Colon means that it will skip the first letter, but it will include all the others. It will all the way on the end. So that's what we get. That's great. And next, what we want to do is check if the user finished the sentence with full stop or period, and we do it by including another if statement, if opinion. And this time, if you want to we want to check the last letter of that string or that sentence, which is -1. In Python, if you want to check for the last letter, we need to type in -1 like this. If -1 is not full stop, period like that, surrounded by single quotes, if it's not, we want to change it. So opinion is opinion plus full stop like that. Awesome, good stuff. And now what we want to do is check if the string doesn't include any special characters, because we want just a normal plain English. We don't want any art symbol, we don't want any hashtag, we don't want anything that doesn't look like a plain English. And we do it by for character in special characters like that. If that character is in opinion like this, we want to change the variable or the value of clean variable to false like this. Okay. And lastly, we want to check if that variable of opinion is completely clean of all these special characters, it's capitalized, and it's finished with a full stop. If it is, that means if clean, then we want to just return, or we want to print that opinion, just like that. But there's one more small thing that's missing in this script. We are defining a function here. We got special characters, which is the list of all special characters, right? However, if we just run it now, which can do like Control S to save, and let's run it. Python main, and as you can see, nothing really happened. Why nothing happened? We are getting nothing in this in the terminal, right? We are not getting nothing because we are not calling the function. This is merely just a definition. We are creating the function, but in order to actually run it, we need to call it or invoke it, if you like. Yeah. So let's do it, and we do it by just simply on the next line. We start with get user input like that, and we call it with a single parenthesis like this. Okay. Control S to save. Head over to terminal. Error up. And as you can see, now we are getting the prompt. We are getting, what do you think of Pokemon? And we can check, for example, if I will maybe just a gibberish, yeah, just to see if actually we will get this print statement. Because if I input any gibberish, like any of these characters, this won't be run because it will be false, and we should be getting anything from the terminal. Let's try it. Okay, I think it's I don't know, like this complete gibberish. It's not even English, right? And as you can see, we are getting nothing in terminal. It's just exited out. Why? Because this statement wasn't ran. It was ran, but it didn't. It was ignored because clean wasn't true. Here it evaluated false. Okay, let's try once again, but with a legitimate input. Like for example, I think it is awesome, like this. And notice I'm not finishing the sentence with a period or full stop. I want Python to do it for me. Let's do it. And as we can see, it really did it. Python did it. Python finished the sentence with a full stop for me. And now I can try without the uppercase. Yeah. So I will run again, and I can do with lowercase, right? Pokemon is swell, like that. Why not? And as you can see, I'm not including full stop either. Yeah. So it's just lowercase, and I'm not finishing with full stop. Hit enter. And as you can see, yes, I'm getting what I was expecting. I'm expecting uppercase, and I'm expecting full stop at the end. Sweet. And now let me just explain to you the point of actually creating or making functions, right? Imagine that you've got a script or Python code, and you've got hundreds of lines, and you need to run this code multiple times, not just once. Yeah. So just for the sake of example, boys and girls, let me just show you. You've got some code here. You've got some code here. You've got some code here. And you've got some code here. Yeah, you've got like 4 different blocks, say. And you need to run this code. You need to run this code 4 times in different parts of your code, right? So normally what you would do, you would just copy paste this code, and you have it just here, and how many times you actually need to run it, how many times you need to make this check or do this check, right? But that's not the right way to do it, because we need to follow dry. This is short for don't repeat yourself. Okay, so let me just erase it again, because that's not the right way to do it. And now what we can do, we can just call the function, right? So Control C to copy, and you can just copy paste it with Control V, right? So we can use the input over here in another place, for example here, and we can do it here as well. And we've got 4th one here. So now, as you can see, instead of copying these lines of code, you got like how many? You've got 13, is that right? Yeah, 13 lines of code. And instead of copying and pasting 13 lines of code, just one. You just call this function and it will run it for you 4 different times. Sweet, isn't it? And another thing I want to explain to you, boys and girls, is that there's a difference. Sometimes you will hear people saying functions and method. and sometimes they use it like it's the same thing, but it's not the same thing. As far as Python is concerned, functions and methods are not the same thing. I will show you what's the difference. It's actually very simple. Functions are basically these lines of code. It's definition, get user input, and all the rest. And it's a standalone function. If it's standalone like this, it's a function. Let me just I just put a comment here. Function. What makes if I can spell right function. What makes function method is if it's included in a class. Let me show you. Class, and for example, it can be my class, whatever. Yeah, that's completely fine. My class, and now you will just add attributes and attributes and different methods to the class. So essentially, what makes a function a method is when the function is inside a class like this. Let me show you. So now you can, let me just do the indent here, like that. So now, now you can see function is basically method outside of class, but there are differences between what functions and what methods can do. Yeah, they can't be used the same way. Yeah, even though structurally or they appear like same. You can see here definition, get user input, and it's a method because it's inside a class. And here you got basically the same thing, but there's no class. You don't have any class. It's just a standalone, and that's what makes it function. So once again, the difference between function and method is that functions are inside class. I just want to get this across because this is very important distinction, very important difference. And sometimes people when they speak about Python code, they basically make it sound, or they use the word method and function like it's the same thing, but it's not. So I just want you to know for sure what's the difference between method and functions, so you can show off.
And now, exercise for you boys and girls. Create a function called count all vowels. Inside the function, create a variable called count and give it the initial value of 0. Then get input from user asking what's on your mind. Save user's input into variable of your choosing. Then write a code that counts number of vowels in the user's input and prints it out. Just as a hint, use count plus equals 1 in your code.
Okay, and here is what you should be having. So, did you get it right? Don't feel bad if you made a mistake. That's completely fine. Remember that mistakes are stepping stones to success. So if you have made a mistake, correct your mistake and just learn from it and have fun with it. That's all this is about. Okay, let's crack on.
Okay, boys and girls, and now quiz for you. What keyword every function or method starts with? Think about your answer for a moment. It's def. Let's go on next one. What goes after name of a function? Take a moment to think about your answer. Parentheses. You got it. Next one. What dry stands for in programming? Take a moment to think about your answer. Don't repeat yourself. Alrighty.
Well done to you. You made it to the end of this video and we covered Python functions. Now you understand what's the difference between functions and methods, you know what the keywords are, and next time we'll cover Python functions with parameters. They work slightly differently. It's not complicated at all. It's actually easy to understand, but that's what we will cover next time. And if you enjoyed this video and you haven't subscribed yet, just hit the subscribe button, hit the like, and share it with your classmates, with other boys and girls, with your friends. I will see you next time. Bye.